All right, thanks for joining us in Theater 4. The great content continues here. We've got Maximize ServiceNow ROI with Aavenir's AI-enabled connected contract management. Our presenters are going to be John DeStasio, Principal Solution Consultant at Aavenir, and Jesal Mehta, who is the CEO. Gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone. You guys can hear me? Wonderful. Thank you. I'm Jesal Mehta, founder and CEO of Aavenir. I've been joined by John DeStasio, who is a Principal Solution Consultant, also an expert in contract lifecycle management, doing that for what, 10 years now?
Oh, it's almost 13.
13 years just doing contract management. And to top it off, I've been doing for 20 years. So I just wanted to make sure that he's only 30. Who we are, Aavenir offers source-to-pay applications natively on the ServiceNow platform. So starting from the left, we do RFP management. So if you're launching an RFP, inviting the suppliers, their responses, getting the supplier responses and sending it to your evaluation team, so the whole evaluation workflow, and awarding the bid to your supplier. From that to onboarding the supplier on your platform, doing the contract with them, and then the managing the obligations and the invoice management using our own proprietary AI. So this source-to-pay application nicely complements with ServiceNow's procurement service management as well. So this is what we do. We have been on the ServiceNow platform. We only do ServiceNow applications. We've been around for 4 years. But today, we are going to talk about contract lifecycle management. Let me ask you this. How many of you deal with contracts? Quite a few of you, right? How many of you want to find a contract at middle of the night and you can't find one? Plenty of you, right? It's a common problem. A lot of times you start the contracting process as well and your procurement or deal slows down because the contracting process takes horrendously long time. That's what we continue hearing from our customers and our prospects. And as I said earlier, I've been doing this for a little over 20 years, contract lifecycle management. I've seen different incarnation of the technologies. The pain points have remained same. As you can see on the screen here, a lot of customers, thousands of contracts sitting on a SharePoint somewhere on somebody's hard drive. Oh, I want to find a contract, or I want to find all the contracts where in North America, where the force majeure clause is not there, and I need to add them. How do you do that, right? So these are the common challenges. So deals slow down, there's an impact on revenue, there's a cost overrun. You get the contracts, and if you don't compare that with your invoices, at times you are paying more than what you should be paying. And at the end of the day, lack of contracts is the relationship deterioration with whether that's customer or your supplier. So this is kind of what we hear on a regular basis from all of our customers. This is, I'm presuming, probably familiar to a lot of you guys here as well. Let's quickly look at what is a contract, right? Typical contract has contract header, your start date, your end date, who are you dealing, the supplier, what's your address and stuff like that. Your bunch of clauses, your milestones, when something has to happen by, your some deliverables. You have to deliver this product or your service by so-and-so date. A bunch of payment related details and bunch of other things, pricing schedules and so on. This is your contract structure. Just think about this on the other side, or the left side. All of this data has to come from somewhere. Some of the data comes from your vendor master. Some of the data is coming from your supplier catalog. Some of the data comes from your RFX or RFP that you just awarded to the supplier too. Some of that comes from your purchase requisition. And some of that comes, let's say, in case of if you're using legal service delivery, from that contract request also some of the information is coming in. And once the contract is prepared, that information is going to different systems as well. Some of them is going to ERP. Your payment data is going to your AP automation or any other financial systems. Some of the data is contract data, vendor risk especially, going to your GRC modules. So contract is your central entity. where it's getting a lot of data from different systems, and it is sending a lot of data to other systems as well. How do you do that? You have extensive integrations. You have to write some REST APIs to talk to different systems, fetch the data, send the data, your risk duplication data. And then you can imagine the data extraction from one application, ETL, transform that, send it to the different system, and you run into all kind of system issues. And guess what? You have to rely on the developers to be able to do that. But not with ServiceNow plus Aavenir. Because Aavenir solutions are built natively on ServiceNow, and that all the data is stored on the ServiceNow platform. So data is automatically connected. There is no integration required there. So going back to the previous slide, in a different way, what you see, everything that is on the left side, it what Aavenir provides the data, and then it goes to on the other side, which is the ServiceNow system that it flows into. So now a lot of data is flowing back and forth from your contract management system. So the connected contract is helping you connect a lot of your own system, your legacy system, to Aavenir's contract management, and that to the ERP. Essentially, what we do as per when we say contract lifecycle management, it starts with requesting for a contract. One of the procurement manager says, I need to write a contract with my new vendor. Sends a request, or if it's a simple one, an NDA kind of a contract, they can self-serve a contract, or there's a ready-made template, they fill in the information, and a contract is created automatically. Once a contract is created, it is now shared internally for internal review, being sent to external review. We have our own proprietary technology that integrates with Microsoft Word and Office 365, where the lawyers on both sides can actually edit the document together. A lot of times there's a lot of back and forth of your different versions of the contract, and you lose track which was the latest version, and that's kind of what we are addressing there as well. And once the contract is negotiated, both parties agreed, has been the right people have approved the contracts. Now you use the e-signature like DocuSign or Adobe Sign to sign the contract, and now your contract is official. Once the contract is signed, the life cycle is not over. You still have to amend the contract, renew the contract. All these workflows are out of the box with Aavenir. So you know what needs to happen. You are going to get notified 30, 60, 90 days before the contract expires, or it is ready for renewal. Once you have these things, our solution can now provide obligation management. Once a contract is signed, a lot of information there where somebody has to do something about it. Let's say your supplier is required to send you an insurance certificate on an annual basis. It's a 5-year contract. Who is going to remember to ask that supplier every year, hey, send me a new insurance certificate? This obligation management tool of ours will, using our own proprietary AI, will extract this information, extract this obligation, and create the workflows where supplier will be reminded and your internal vendor manager will be reminded of getting the insurance certificate in this particular example. And then obviously the analytics and reporting, obligation tracking, which John, when shows the demo, we are going to go over that. That's in the obligation management part. These are our customers. Customers are all over the place, across the world, in States, in Germany, in Australia, in Singapore. After talking to these customers, there are few nuggets that we learned about what makes contract management implementation successful and the contract management user adoption successful as well. Usually it is highly recommended to go crawl, walk, run. I mean, people especially who have taken a big bang approach trying to go across the board, they find it difficult. So we strongly recommend going for extract and store. The first job is gather all your contracts in one repository. Because once it's there, you can now do a lot of stuff on top of that. You can search, you can report. And our AIs, Aavenir AI, can take your executed PDF contracts and extracts all the relevant terms and clauses, so that now you don't have to key it in when you are importing your thousands of legacy contract. Once it's there, and John will talk about that a little more, using an NLP query, which is a natural language, you can ask more questions to the system and you can search for those contracts. Once you get the basics in place, which is extracting and storing in one place, now you can create your own contract templates using your own clause library if you have them. Collaborate internally, basically create this contracts in there and store it within the contract as well. Post that, a lot of times you must be dealing with third-party paper, where your other party is sending you the contracts. And till date, it was very challenging, because when somebody sends a contract, now you have to receive that contract, type the terms and conditions in your contract metadata. Instead, our AI will do that for you. And that's where the power of AI is going to come in. And I'm just going to put a quick plug in here. The advanced level of this session is going to be talking about the best practices in contract management and the use of AI. Same theater tomorrow at 10:30. It's going to be done by John and Sunil Masan there. So if you are interested, especially in AI, because I've talked a lot about AI out here, you want to see what AI can do in this, please come back here at 10:30 in the morning. And finally, a lot of these essentially, contract is a risk management tool. So once you get all your contract data, contracts in one place, you can feed this data into your any risk management module like GRC, and that's where you can really start creating value. So as you go out of this from a smaller bubble to the bigger bubble, that is where you really start getting the higher ROI from ServiceNow. And with that, there you go. That's as you mature and as you connect more processes. With that, over to John.
Thank you, Jesal. Hey, everyone. So for our demo today, I'm going to be presenting out of the lens of a contract manager. So for our customers, this is typically users in procurement, legal, IT, HR, anyone in the organization that has the permission and the responsibility to see contract data, manage the life cycle of a certain agreement, and maybe even get contracts approved and signed. So as we start off here, you'll notice that for that homepage, we have our contract manager dashboard. This is where the users can come in and quickly be presented with all of the general metadata and key information related to the contract. So things like all of the contract status by stage, what's in review, what's in approval, things that are coming up for renewal, as we can see here. All of this is driven off of ServiceNow out-of-the-box reporting. And then likewise, we can do data around or provide reporting around clauses. Like Jesal mentioned, this is an item that we can extract from any third-party or legacy contract. So now we can drill in and see, oh, what are the active post-termination service clauses we have in place in our repository? Today, for most customers, we find getting this level of granularity is very painful in their current environment. And then as well, we offer NLP searching. So with our application, there's multiple ways to search agreements. One of the ways we offer is with free text queries. So a user can come in, they don't need to be an expert in data or know exactly what they want. They can just type, in this case, show me all contracts with IBM expiring this year. And just off of that, the application will search and filter off and return all the contracts that meet that criteria. And then from here, a user is brought to the results screen. You'll notice they can be presented with any metadata that they want. We also have a way of filtering data right from this view. So if they needed to see all these agreements that are within a certain amount or that begin at a certain date, all that can be done right here. You'll notice at the header, this is also where a user could quickly upload an agreement if they got one on the fly, or create a contract off of one of your pre-approved templates. The other thing I wanted to highlight here is the hierarchies. So for many of our customers, managing parent-child relationships and the related contracts is a big pain. This is how we can visualize all of those relationships. And then if the user needed to maybe drill back to one of these and see, hey, what was the pricing we agreed to there? Or what were the clauses? They can do that just by hitting any of these icons right on the hierarchy and get to those line items.
Likewise, any clauses. So it's like, oh, what did we agree way back when we signed that vendor 10 years ago? Now they can quickly get access to that right at their fingertips without needing to mine and reread a bunch of agreements. So now I'm just going to click into one of these contracts and we're going to be brought to a contract record. So under the hood here, everything is still being stored on the contract.ast table, but you'll notice the UI is very different, and this is the Aavenir UI we bring. Where on the right side, you're going to see the latest version of that agreement. Our application has full version control, so a user here can toggle between any number of versions that exist and get that visibility without needing to open up Word or the PDF. Likewise, any of the clauses that either we extracted or were generated are going to be visible right here on the contract record. So if you're working on 100-page agreements, now this is a way that you can just at your fingertips see the key clauses and get a sense for what did we agree to in this agreement, especially if maybe it's been years since you saw it. And then we can also provide alerts based off business rules. So if certain contract types need clauses that may be omitted, we can alert the user, hey, by the way, we're missing this. Likewise, obligations. So any of the obligation or SLA data embedded in these agreements can be extracted and presented to the user. These obligations can be queued to both internal users and your vendors themselves. So you can get visibility into how they're attaining. And now we're talking more about the connected contract. So if you also have invoice data and PO data on ServiceNow, this is a way that we can bring that and relate it to the contract record, with the goal being the contract acting as the source of truth going forward. Here we're highlighting integration with ITSM. So if there were SLAs that your vendor agreed to, now maybe based off of how they're performing on those SLAs will drive a discount that's coming up, maybe something contractually related that could add value. Now we can present all that right here on the contract record within ServiceNow. And then of course, like Jesal mentioned, we can facilitate the whole end-to-end workflow and lifecycle. So sending contracts for internal reviews, collaborating internally, routing it to vendor reviews or third party, all of that is done right from the application. We're going to audit track all of those correspondence and keep them on platform. And then ultimately sending the contracts off for approval and signature. And for signature, we have out-of-the-box integration with both DocuSign and Adobe Sign to help get that done. So thank you so much for your time, and we have a booth over that way. So if you all want to stop by and get a deeper dive demo or see some of the other features, please stop by, and that'll turn.
Thank you very much, John. Thanks a lot.